Method chaining means that you can run multiple methods in a single statement. The way that this is possible is through the use of return values. We'll look at method chaining with both array and object methods. Let's look at array methods first: map, filter, and reduce. Though note, these are not the only array methods that can be chained. Methods must have return values in order to be chained. And map, filter, and reduce all do have return values. Remember, map and filter both return new arrays, and reduce returns a single value. Go ahead and open your console and type with me. We'll use an array of strings this time. And we'll use names of states for our string values. Let's say that we want to create a new array where we filter out only the states that start with the letter M. We can do that like this. So now M states should contain just Montana and Maine. And let's say now we want to also go through and change every state name in this new array to being uppercase. You can do that like this. So what we're doing here is we put the return value from this filter method into this variable. Then we use the map method on that variable. Then we put the return value from that map into another variable. We can actually do this in one step instead of two, like this. At the very end of my filter, I'm going to use a dot, and then I'm going to chain a map method right here. And if we check the value of this new variable, we can see that it has the same result as when we did this in two steps without chaining. What's happening here is that we performed a filter method on states and it returned an array, which means that this whole bit of code here is basically the same as the return value, the array. Then instead of stuffing that returned array into a new variable, we immediately just used it as the array for the map method. Then we put the return value of the map method into this variable. But we could have actually kept going by putting a dot at the end of the map method and adding another method. There's no limit to how many times you can keep chaining methods like this, aside from practical considerations of readability and maintainability. You could have added, for example, another map that would add an exclamation mark to each string. That's how method chaining works with methods that have defined return values. Now let's look at objects and custom methods that we add to objects. We can make a simple bird object with a couple of custom methods. We'll give it a sing method and a fly method. So we can make it sing to the console, and we can make it fly. But can we chain these methods like this? No, we can't. And it's not because you can't chain object methods. As the console tells us, it's because we're trying to use fly on something that's undefined. And the reason that it's undefined is because these methods do not have a return value. Remember, methods are functions, and a rule of functions is that they always return something, and if you don't give it something to explicitly return, it will return undefined. The return value that we want in this case is the bird object because the fly method is defined on the bird object. How can we do this? The this keyword comes to our rescue. Inside this object, this refers to the object. So we can simply return this from each method. We'll update the sing method as I've shown you before. And now I can type bird, sing, fly. And we can see that the method chaining worked. The bird both sings and flies. We can chain multiple times even to the same method as long as the method that you are chaining to has the return value. Will it work the other way? That still doesn't work because fly isn't returning the bird object. So you can see that without a return value, it can be chained to something, but nothing can be chained to it. So we have to add the return to the fly method as well. Now we can chain fly to itself or chain sing to it. So remember this. You can chain methods together as long as there's a valid return value from the method that you are chaining to. When you are using array methods like map, filter, and reduce, they already have built-in return values. When you're writing custom methods for objects and classes, then you need to include the return value yourself.